Hey, what's good everyone? Welcome to Technique Tuesday, where we show you how to perform a certain skill in multiple progressions. All right, boys and girls, go ahead and fasten those seat belts. Make sure your arms and legs are inside the vehicle at all times, and enjoy the ride. So the equipment you guys are gonna need is a set of cones, an object that you could counter off of, and a goal of some kind. All right guys, so today's technique is the spin move. So we're gonna get right into it with the 3 different progressions. Let's start at progression number 1. And for the rest of this video, we're gonna call it P1, P2, and P3, just to make it a little bit simpler. Okay, so let's follow along. So I have 2 cones, a bag, and a goal. That's all the equipment you're gonna need for this. Obviously your stick and a couple of balls. You can use tennis balls, or if you're in the house, use a bundled up pair of socks. So let's talk about the spin move. The spin move is a great move to evade the defender. You can do that in the open field. You can do it really in tight, in the 8 and 12, if you play the guys game, right? So the spin move is a good move to master, but it's also a little complicated if you don't get the footwork right. So let's talk about some footwork, all right? P1, progression number 1, is a plant and a pivot. So we need to practice our basketball skills here. Obviously we are on a basketball court and we are moving around with some basketball shoes, not really basketball shoes. So what I'm gonna do first for P1 is I'm gonna come straight up to this cone right here. When I come up to this cone right here, I wanna make sure that I am planting 1 foot right here. And I'm going to plant the foot that I am going to pivot off of. So as you can see, if I want to roll back into the cage, into the middle, I'm going to plant my left foot right here. I don't want to plant my right foot, because then if I plant right here and I try and do a spin move back to the cage, I'm going to go this way. Does that make sense? You see that pivot right there? So for all my players out there, if I'm trying to roll back into the cage, right? You can call this a roll dodge. I'm gonna plant my left foot right here, and here's a pro tip for you. Make sure that you are sitting down on it, turning, and for this progression, we're gonna keep it all in the same hand. I get my hips facing and I score. So that is progression number 1. Let's follow along. All right, for progression number 2, we're gonna start off with what we did in P1, and we're gonna expound on it, okay? So now we're mastering P1. We got the pivot, we got the turn, that's perfect. We're keeping it in the same hand. P2 now, the progression for that is we're going to switch hands mid-roll. So check this out. Same thing, I'm coming up. One more thing I wanna add into this plant right here is I wanna break down my steps, sit down nice and low. Don't leave my stick hanging, because then I might get trail kicked. So now I'm right here. What I'm gonna do is, as I'm mid-spin, I'm going to switch my hand stance, going to my left to add extra protection. That is P2. Once I finish switching, I'm going ahead to score. A couple of quick notes on P2. You wanna make sure that when you are planting and switching your hands, that you don't leave your stick hanging too far, okay? Especially depending on how far you are out. You can wrap it back and add some added stick protection. Let's get into P3. Now, you're gonna take that extra object. You can use a bag, I'm using my ball bag. You can use a sibling, that's always more fun. If you have a sibling that has a pool noodle, man, that's awesome. Right here, we're gonna put this right here, because what occasionally happens when we perform our first move, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Also, we might have another slide coming, so we need to dodge them as well. So this one is called the spin and the counter. All right, so doing everything I did up until step 1 and 2, doing all those steps. And now I'm adding in a counter at the bag, which is our slide or our recovered defender. So now I'm coming out, I am going ahead and break it down, switching hands. Now, boom, I get to this slide or this second defender, and maybe I can't get my pass off and I need to dodge him. This is where we get super creative. And the way we do this is by thinking of a dodge to do. And we can practice multiple reps of doing a split dodge right after, going back the opposite way. or we can go ahead and do a face dodge, okay? There's lots of dodges that we can do. We can even add another spin or roll, whatever you'd like to call it. And that's basically how we progress through the spin move. So one of the most important things to do on this is, again, plant that foot, okay? That's important. And understand how to spin to the direction that you want to go. For my littles out there, what's important to understand, parents, is that when they begin to start spinning, you don't need to necessarily make sure that they're spinning the right way. Most importantly, you got to make sure that their feet are wide. Just let them spin. Just let them spin to get around and away from you. That's what you got to do, because through that, they're going to start learning. And later on, when they start getting some athletic literacy going, now they're going to be able to spin and understand how to do that, because they started at a young age just by spinning. So again, for my K2, maybe even 3 to 5, don't worry so much about getting the plant right all the time. You want to gradually put that in there, but just worry about spinning and evading and trying to get away. And you can add in all those other things. And that is your technique for this Tuesday. So if you found value in that video, go ahead and smash that like button. Leave us a comment below letting us know what you want to see next. We want to know because we want to do it. Also, make sure to become a subscriber of the Kids Lacrosse YouTube channel, because we put out like weekly content and you want to make sure you're getting that. And last but not least, hit that notification bell wherever it's at so that you can stay caught up on all new releases that Kids Lacrosse has. All right, guys, till the next time, I'm Gabe. Have a great one.